What if I told you the most powerful form of control in the modern world isn't military force, isn't surveillance, and isn't even technology? It's money. Not the money in your wallet, but the money created behind closed doors, out of nothing, by people you'll never vote for and never meet. Money printing is sold to you as a financial tool, but the truth is far stranger. It has quietly evolved into a mechanism that shapes behavior, influences entire populations, and determines who gets wealthy and who stays trapped. Today, we uncover how money printing became the ultimate tool of control, a system built on promises, illusions, and carefully engineered dependence. And once you see the pattern, you'll never look at a dollar the same way again. To understand how we got here, we have to rewind to a time when money was real, when every dollar represented something tangible. For centuries, gold acted as a natural barrier against corruption. Governments couldn't spend recklessly. Wars couldn't last forever. Economies couldn't be inflated with the push of a button. But power hates limits. And in the quiet halls of central banks, financial ministries, and elite institutions, a debate was brewing. Should money remain scarce and disciplined? Or should it become elastic, stretchable, expandable, printable? That debate would spark a chain reaction of events, from world wars to depressions to secretive agreements that transformed money printing from a rare emergency tool into a permanent lever of global influence. Let's trace that journey. The first massive shift came during World War I. Nations had massive bills far beyond what their gold reserves could cover. Instead of accepting limits, leaders took a shortcut. They suspended the gold standard and printed money. They assured the public it was temporary, a patriotic necessity, a wartime exception. But there's a rule in politics. Once you give power, it never returns to its cage. After the war, most countries attempted to return to gold, but politicians had tasted the sweet freedom of unlimited spending. Printing money didn't just fund wars. It bought political support. It softened unpopular decisions. It made governments look more generous than they actually were. The seeds were planted. Then came the Great Depression. Fear and desperation opened the door for even more intervention. Printing wasn't just normalized, it was celebrated as economic salvation. And for the first time, leaders realized something enormous. If you control the supply of money, you control the psychology of the masses. The next major pivot happened in 1944 at Bretton Woods. World leaders created a new global monetary system, anchored to the US dollar, which was supposedly backed by gold. But the backing wasn't one-to-one. It was partial, fractional, meaning the system was only as strong as trust allowed it to be. Behind the scenes, governments started printing more dollars than gold they held. Foreign nations noticed. They began asking to exchange their dollars for actual gold. This exposed a dangerous truth. There were far more dollars in circulation than gold in vaults. A global monetary crisis was coming, and that led to the moment everything changed. On August 15, 1971, President Richard Nixon announced something temporary. The US would suspend the dollar's convertibility into gold. This temporary suspension has lasted over 50 years. Money stopped being a commodity. It became a policy, a decree, a belief system. Now, governments could print without limits. Central banks could expand credit endlessly. And the financial world entered a new era. Money became infinite, but your purchasing power became fragile. This shift created the foundation for the control mechanism we live under today. Once money printing became limitless, everything changed. Governments discovered they could fund anything without raising taxes. Wars, social programs, corporate bailouts, no need to ask voters' permission. Banks realized they could expand credit endlessly through fractional reserves. Corporations learned that cheap printed money could buy dominance through acquisitions, stock buybacks, and influence. And the average citizen? They didn't understand what was happening until it was too late. Printing money devalues savings, but it quietly steals purchasing power. It inflates the cost of living. It forces people into lifelong debt just to survive. This isn't economic accident. It's economic architecture. A system where those closest to the money printer, the elite, the connected, the powerful benefit first. This is the Cantillon effect. New money enters at the top. The wealthy buy assets early. The poor face higher prices later. Money printing became a wealth funnel. A silent, invisible transfer from the bottom to the top. Each time printing caused a crisis, the solution was always more printing. Dot-com crash, lower rates, more stimulus. 2008 meltdown, quantitative easing, trillions created. Pandemic era, historic levels of printing. The system is trapped in a loop. Printing causes bubbles. Bubbles cause crashes. Crashes demand more printing. Every intervention makes the system bigger, more fragile, and more dependent on manipulation. It's not a glitch. It's the design. Today, the consequences are everywhere. Over 80% of US dollars in existence were created in just a few years. Global debt has exploded beyond $300 trillion. Governments borrow from the future to fund the present. Central banks hold the power to move markets with a single sentence. The result? Housing becomes unaffordable. Savings lose value. Salaries fall behind inflation. Generations stay trapped in debt. And every crisis magically expands government influence from lockdown Rulesto, spending packagesto surveillance tied to digital payments. The system becomes more centralized with every cycle. Because once money becomes infinite, control becomes inevitable. Here's the truth beneath everything. Money printing isn't about economics. It's about power. When you control money, you control behavior, opportunity, incentives, expectations, access, survival. Money printing determines who gets rescued and who gets left behind, who gets loans and who gets denied, who rises in society and who stays financially paralyzed. It's not chaos. It's a framework. And it has one purpose: to centralize control in the hands of those who command the printer. Takeaway number 1. Money printing began as a temporary emergency tool, but evolved into the foundation of political and financial control. Every new round of printing quietly transfers wealth upward, while ordinary people bear the cost through inflation and debt. The system can no longer stop printing, which means the next crisis will push this mechanism further than we've ever seen. A warning: we are approaching a moment where governments worldwide may introduce new forms of digital money, new regulations and new rules, all justified by the next crisis. And once those systems are in place, the ability to print and control money won't just expand, it will become absolute. If you want more breakdowns of hidden financial mechanisms, global debt systems, and the real forces shaping the world economy, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because in our next deep dive, we reveal the one shift that may change the global money system forever and what it means for your future. Stay curious, stay aware, and never stop questioning the systems built around you.